Okay, well, I want to take.
You saving this for somebody?
No, no, but I can say
No, you're fine. But I don't know. I don't know. Not really in terms of the figures.
Yeah, you can sit here. I'll just stand
We're
up.
just gonna
No problem.
try to get other people to sit first.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we're young. Yeah. She's recording, so we can. Yeah. I just want people. Well, I hope that. I think
Hi, Jan. How are you?
I'm good. Is that your seat or?
I don't need a seat. I'll stand if it comes down to it.
Make room
Yeah,
for
thank you. Your daughter's watching.
somebody. What?
Your daughter's watching.
My daughter's watching?
Sorry, what were you going to say? Oh, can I just glance at yours? Because I got it the other day and they added more stuff. Oh, okay, there we go. Thank you very much.
Might have to move to the big room.
You know, had they let us in a couple minutes earlier, then we could have figured that out.
I was thinking the best tact was to, I don't know if you were going to say something about the library, but I think the attorneys, remember the library board meeting? The library attorney said, I've not heard from the.
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
I think it's all moot. And it's not on the agenda for them to.
I want someone to talk about
But
it.
they could put it on there.
That's exactly right.
Where's she gonna do?
Would you grab me one too? Thank you, because mine was not up to date.
And of course, if they don't follow Robert's rules, they don't have a time to add something to the agenda. And so they just go bring it up in the middle of nothing. And my daughter's in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Skiing.
It's the beauty of social media.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Oh, it is on it's on the new agenda.
What is? Oh,
The library. It
look
wasn't
at
on the
that.
agenda
Yeah,
that we got earlier.
that's right.
Well, maybe I'll have to talk.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
You guys here? Hey, Ash. This is Peter's mom. I'm looking forward to our tea tomorrow. Want me to bring some jello? I have some. Oh, you never know. I spread so much on my brain. I'm forgetting absolutely right now.
may be able to move up just a tiny bit. There we go. That's actually better. Oh, no problem. See, they didn't open the doors until 5:24. Had they let us all in earlier, they could have known they needed the big room, right?
Which is as good as it gets today.
I know, right? Which they should have done last month.
I was gonna say, it's a little behind, but
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I guess we're going to find out when we're talking. I haven't seen most of these people before. Can't wait to check if Jamie. This is the one she sent me on Thursday. I don't think she updated it today. I think I checked that account right before I came. Didn't send me the new one because I subscribed, so she has to send me all the agendas to
so
any
they
meeting.
give you the old one, but they don't give you the new one.
I don't know. I got to check and see if she sent it to me or not today.
I need to subscribe to that too.
Yeah, it was very easy. That way I feel like it gives me a shot if they do a special meeting. Maybe they'll send it to me in time. Probably not.
Yeah, don't count on it. We gotta ask them if that's part of the deal. Agenda for the regular meetings, and then notice of the special meeting. What's on the
I asked for both.
I know that, but I'm saying if they're all speaking on the same name, okay.
It's 5:32, we'll call the Mayfield Township Board meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We might have to sit at the board. Maybe she's making more copies. Excuse me.
Next on the agenda is approval of minutes from the January 13th and January 31st board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 13th, 2025 minutes as presented.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Cheryl, you said that was for the January 13th, or
January 13th,
we
2025.
got 31st also?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 31st, 2025 board meeting minutes as presented.
All in favor, say aye. Did you say that?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye. Treasurer's report? No treasurer's report? Okay. All right, we have for public time. Go ahead.
Leslie Getz. Since the annual meeting is usually held in June and this is already March, I'm wondering if the board is ready to set that date for the annual meeting so that the residents can make plans to attend. I don't want that to slip away from us and then we don't know what the date is. I have lots of other concerns that I plan to bring up tonight, but seeing as it's a really full crowd and I think I know what the issue people want to speak about is and it doesn't apply to me, I will yield the rest of my time and bring back my issues regarding the library board appointment, the deficiencies noted in the annual audit, the website progress, the whether or not we're going to have a new master plan newer than 2005. I'll bring those up again next month.
Okay, anybody else?
I would like to speak.
Go ahead.
My name is Lisa Heil. I'm here to speak about the library. I stand before you to talk about this because obviously it affects our community quite significantly. This is a hard thing for me to stand up here and do, so please bear with me. I may take more time than you would like, but please do listen to me, okay? As
Ma'am,
stewards of
excuse me.
knowledge and
Ma'am,
culture,
excuse me, ma'am, please.
libraries hold an essential role in fostering our community, okay? We need to be a strong community and uplift each other. I would like to see us do. I would like to see us come together as a community and listen to each other and understand that all voices count. I am a Christian. I'm here to do God's work, to say to you, God's work is to have compassion for all, to lift each other up, to understand each other, not to reject, but to understand. His teachings are to love, accept one another. So let's be that community. Let's be that example of the community that listens to each other, not reject, not shut down, but listens to each other, lifts each other up, so that we can show other communities how to do this. Through love and compassion and empathy for others, not for disdain, not for hate, not for rejection, because that builds nothing. All that does is destroy, and it destroys us within. It takes away our humanity. You're handing it over piece by piece. Please stop. Please stop. That's all. It is about the library, because closing the library shuts down knowledge base. Now, the Bible has all of these topics.
Ma'am.
Are you gonna take that out of the library too?
Ma'am, excuse me,
Yes, sir.
speak to the board.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you got 1
Okay.
minute left, we got a lot of
I
things to get taken care of
apologize.
tonight, okay?
I apologize.
Don't need a sermon, what is your
But that
concern?
is what I'm trying to say, by shutting down the library and trying to do what you're trying to do and take out people's words and make things disappear. It doesn't make it not exist. It just makes it disappear. It doesn't make them disappear. So please, stop trying to do it. Be the better community. Be the stronger community. Because a stronger community builds that. Thank you, please thank you for listening. Please listen to me. Please listen. Thank you.
Yes,
I wanted to share support for the library system as well. I'm part of a group of parents who wrote a letter. We have a variety of ages of students in Lapeer County schools, and we feel that the library is a place of imagination, knowledge, and should be protected by free speech. We do not support any banning of books, and we support the support of our libraries.
okay, we have an issue here that we need to, Mr. Gilman is here for, and I'd like to, just stop with the, public time here for a moment. Right. So we can move on to one, new business, which is the rezoning of the Fish Lake Road gas station. Mr. Gilman has another meeting, and I would like to get through this, before he has to leave.
What if people have a public time comment regarding the rezoning? Are they going to be able to make that before new business?
Yeah, we would like to, we'd like to speak.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with your.
I'll go ahead. So, my name's Kyle, and this is my wife Nancy. So we're speaking here to express our deep concern regarding the proposed construction of a large gas station across the street from our residential area. Our family, along with many of our neighbors, strongly opposes this project for several compelling reasons that directly impact on our quality of life, property values, and the well-being of our community. Our environmental and quality concerns are the construction of a gas station of this size will significantly increase the pollution in our area, including air, noise, ground, and light. Our quiet, rural, residential community is not suited for such a large-scale commercial project. We already face issues with littering, as neighborhood ditches are frequently used for disposal of cans and alcohol bottles. The addition of a gas station will likely exacerbate these problems, further degrading the environment and community aesthetics. Additionally, gas stations release harmful fumes, including benzene and other chemicals which pose potential health risks to the residents, particularly children and the elderly. Furthermore, with existing gas stations located within a 3.5 to 4.5 mile radius on M24, there is no pressing need for another one in our immediate vicinity. A development of this nature could have detrimental effect on our property values in our neighborhood. Homeownership is a significant investment for all of us, and many of us have worked tirelessly to secure and maintain our properties. A large gas station nearby poses the risk of diminishing our property values, leaving families with potential financial losses. We strongly urge the interested parties to commission an independent third-party study assessing the full impact of this project on property values and environmental conditions before any approvals are granted. While the business owner stands to gain financially from this project, it is the residents who will bear the long-term consequences. I respectfully request that the Township Board take our concerns into serious consideration and prioritize the well-being of the community over commercial expansion. We encourage open discussions and transparency in evaluating the long-term effects of this project before making a decision that could permanently alter the character and value of our neighborhood. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. We look forward for your thoughtful consideration and response.
Tom Newman, I'm at 2378 King Road, so not quite as close as some of you guys are, but personally go to the Fish Lake Market often, and I think it would be nice to have a gas station within walking proximity of my property. In case something ever did happen, I wouldn't have to call a tow truck, I could just walk over there. So somebody mentioned 3.5 miles, that's 7 miles round trip to have to go do something where I walk to the convenience store often enough. I think that it would just be more convenient. As far as property values go, development spurs property value increasing. So we get a commercial development like this, it's a service to the community. Again, aside from the people directly adjacent to it who will be affected by the things that were mentioned. But I think that overall, for the community, it would be a net positive. Thank you.
Hunters and ATVers, and we drive our side-by-sides between our house and all the way up as far as Beaufort, Michigan. It would be amazing to have an accessible gas station where we can legally drive our ATVs and RVs when we're hunting. It's in the heart of public hunting right there. Sorry. His store is right in the heart of public hunting, and those people use their four-wheelers and everything else. And it'd be awesome to have a gas station right there accessible to build up our hunters and ATVs.
They can have their property.
On this topic,
front of your home.
an opportunity, I'd like to speak on this and say, I don't live very far from this market that they're talking about.
Okay,
and-
let somebody else have the
Okay.
opportunity, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, we have a big crowd, we gotta get through this.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Hello, I'm Carol Brown from Mayfield Township, obviously, and I want to address the comment about banning books. You haven't even gave this board a chance, people, because I don't know about any banning books. And they might want policy changes, but not banning books, and also closing the library. Another thing I want to report, because I'm a precinct delegate, which has nothing to do with anything except we just had our GOP state convention at the end of February, so I just wanted to say our District 9 chair is Lori Skibo, and the vice chair is Braden Giobazzi, and our Michigan State chair is Senator Jim Runstead, and the vice chair is Bernadette Smith. Thank you.
Yes, in the back.
Forgive me if I don't stand, my knees are bad. I am more interested in what are the hours and what is the possibility of, or we're just gonna put in 2 pumps, is that all we're talking about? Like, we were used to before when Schlaud's owned it, there was 2 pumps out front. Now we're looking at something I'm guessing is gonna be a larger scale. I wanna know what hours, because I live right across the street. Well, for me, it's a detriment to me. Anybody with small children is not gonna wanna buy my house, because they're living right next door to someone that has the liquor license. If you're open very late at night, that's gonna attract different types of people that come there. I'm just interested in what are you really planning on putting there?
It's gonna be the same.
9 o'clock, you're gonna close?
9 o'clock.
Ma'am,
And it's,
up here, what is it?
I just was interested in what hours we're gonna maintain that. Can the hours change once it's rezoned? Can the possibilities change later on down the road? If you rezone it, what are the options of things revamping or escalating after it's rezoned? I mean, I'm thinking right now, maybe 2 pumps or whatever. I don't know how large scale this is gonna turn into and what all you can do. I'm not interested in a 24-hour service at all. I've moved to the country because I like the peace and quiet. If I wanted to live in the city, that's where I would go.
That's right.
But you can't, it's hard to even have an animal living on Fish Lake. There's not really much patrol in front of my house, because I'm out away from town. The regular patrols for police cars and things are, more gathered up for downtown than they are out on Fish Lake, where there's not much of anything going on.
Okay. Yes.
So
I also live right, across the street from the, party store that's there. I think it would be a welcome change to the neighborhood. I do come from the Lapeer area, and go over to the North Branch areas, and a lot of times I'm like, oh man, I've gotta turn all the way back and get gas. As far as the hours, in the country, I don't think that party store right there is small, and doesn't matter how big or small it got, where it's located, I think it would be a welcome change for the neighborhood, and who are we to stand in the way of growth and opportunity? I really think it would be a blessing, and as far as, attracting unwanted people, there's so many liquor stores, they're not gonna come all the way out of their way just to find that one liquor store. There's a lot of liquor stores out there, so I don't think that would be an issue. I have pets as well. I have grandkids that, ride their bikes around there. I think there's a lot of traffic on Fish Lake, whether there's that gas station or not, and that traffic would be hitting that gas station. That they also have pizza there, which is a welcome if I get out of work and I need to get some dinner real fast for my family, that's a welcome thing. So I don't see how, that would hurt, like I said, for us to stand in the way of opportunity and growth. So, and I do live right across the street from where they want to put that store.
If I may, still on the same subject here. I live in the neighborhood as well, and I don't think it would be a bad idea to have a service like that close to the county, because maybe the county would take a little more concern and care about the care of the roads through there. I don't know how many times you go down through there and you hit another bump and you're saying, okay, tomorrow I gotta remember that bump is there, but you're hitting that bump anyway because you're dodging another one. So that's my opinion right there. I think that would be good for the neighborhood in general. Thanks.
Right there on Kingsville, there used to be a little gas station party store there, it ain't there no longer. You know, there's been a gas station there, and it used to be a big town around here. You know, hotels and all that other stuff. I know a lot of people know what used to be around here, it used to be a logging area. But, Fish Lake's been there for probably 70 years or so, and for what they come in here and revamp the place and made that place into a beautiful store compared to the way it was back in the day. It's absolutely gorgeous. And for what he would put into this business here and make it, he wouldn't make it to where it's gonna be an eyesore for anybody to come in and see this. And it's a blessing for everybody to where you got fishing areas, you got your boating and all this. I mean, this is 5 lakes. They need something for this area for people that moved into that area. Say, oh, we're moving by a lake. We got something for our boats, something for our SUVs or whatever, because they're out in the country. They got stuff up there to ride their stuff. And why wouldn't we want something like that there? And it's an awesome place, and I don't think he will destroy the area by no means. He hasn't. He beautified the area already, and he wants to make it better for all of us.
Nathan West, I'm also part of the King Road crew, and just want to say that I know that the community is a big deal and everything, and there are a lot of kids in this community. I know just for myself growing up, and there were so many kids got their first jobs at gas stations, car washes, ice cream shops, party stores. And with all of the kids in this surrounding area, especially within walking distance to this party store / potential gas station, that'd be huge. It teaches young kids how to hold down a job and be part of society and contribute. And that's lacking a lot these days. And for something like that, to have an opportunity where you can say, hey, you're gonna sit inside or you're gonna get a job. Well, where am I gonna work? I'm gonna work a minute down the road. Our kids walk down there, they love hanging out down there. Every time their friends come over to our house, they always wanna walk down to the party store or drive a side-by-side down to the party store because it's fun as kids. I remember when I was a kid, being able to ride my bike to a party store over on Lake Lapeer. I mean, it's something that kids love to do, and to continue that in the community, I understand that there's environmental concerns and property value concerns and everything like that, but at the same time, there are absolute positives to counteract each of the negatives. Opinionated, sure, but I think that there is a lot of positive to be gained by allowing something like that to go in there. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I live on east side of Arcadia Township. So this is the closest, what would be the fueling station for me. It's over 9 miles in any direction. North Branch is the closest. Beacon and Bridge is the closest to the east. And Lapeer is the closest to the south. Emily City is the closest that way. So I got a long ways to go if I'm out of fuel. I've, worked on that I now own 4 piece of crap vehicles so that I can keep 1 in fuel. Having a gas station there would benefit myself, and I can't speak on behalf of anybody else sitting in this room because I'm not even a resident of Mayfield Township. But it would help out those folks that are on the eastern edge of Arcadia Township. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anybody else?
John, 2961 Fish Lake Road. I want to remind the board the planning commission voted 6-1 to not approve of it. My concerns are David Lane was never designed for a drive out onto it. That's currently a bus stop, and the house is due south of there. Every vehicle that pulls out, they're going to be shining their lights on it. It butts right up to the house to the west. I mean, you're talking right next to each other, including the houses on the west side of the road. So I have concerns of the light pollution. It's a 6 pump. If I read the planned site was a 6 pump, not a 2 pump. So I think everybody should look and see what exactly was proposed. But again, I want to remind you, the planning commission turned this down because it wasn't a fit for the area. 24 is a C2, Fish Lake's a residential, C1, that's the only place on that corner. They're my concerns, light pollution, the access to David Lane, never designed for a drive. So when that semi pulls in to fill that station up, where are they gonna pull out on? Out onto David Lane. So they're my concerns, thank you for your time.
Jan Watts on Vernon Road. My concern is anytime a piece of property is changed in zoning, it might be, we all think about the little gas station. When I moved to my house, it was a gas station, little 2-pumper down the road. But once you start looking at C2, unless somehow you can put all sorts of restrictions on it, C2 can be lots of other things that we probably would not like in our neighborhood. And that's the problem. We're not talking just about a gas station. If you look up the zoning ordinance, there's a whole lot of other things under C2. And I'll tell you, I don't want some of them in my neighborhood.
Okay, anybody else?
Dave Schlaud, I live on Burner Road. Pretty familiar with that project. My dad built it, so kind of know a lot about it. Question I'm having is with the zoning. So it's currently a C1, and the gas station's allowed in a C2. Is that? I guess that's my understanding. But I think anything that's in a C1, if it's a C1, a C2 will automatically go in there. So I'm not sure exactly why this is a rezoning issue. I understand everybody's concerns, and a lot of that can be handled at the planning commission with site plan review and all that, but if it's zoned commercial and he's doing a commercial project, and it's a township, it's in the township as a commercial piece of property, I don't know how much leeway you have to not allow him to do it. Either site plan controls and things like that. John mentioned some things with, drives coming off. Well, that's site plan review. That can get adjusted and moved on. So I just am familiar with the project, and I'm just interested to see how this all shakes out. So.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, so no further comments, we'll move on to our
Just a question, was that just supposed to be comments about that project? What about other public comment? Are you taking it on anything?
public time.
Okay,
So you want other public comment?
we thought it was to let Mr. Gildner leave, that you had to have the public.
Well, it didn't work out that way, so.
Okay, so you're doing your whole public time right now?
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, that was not clarified. Thank you. So who's next?
Go ahead, get to it. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. We'll move on to the rezoning of this, 2746 Fish Lake Road. Let me do the address you told me here. If you would, please.
Yeah, so rezonings don't happen very often, so I was asked to be here just to provide some guidance. The large majority of the comments all dealt with the gas station. And this board should not consider a gas station when considering whether or not you approve this use. Whether you need a gas station or against gas, that isn't the question. The question is whether or not the uses allowed in C2, which is requested, are appropriate in your opinion for that location. That's the question. It's true that if you do rezone it to C2, the property owner is not restricted to a gas station. They can put in any use that's allowed in C2. That is that's a true comment. C1 does not allow a gas station either as a principal permitted use or as a use permitted after special approval. It is allowed as a use permitted after special approval in the C2 district. Hence, that would explain why they're asking that it be rezoned from C1 to C2. If you approve that, that's not the end of the question. So then it goes back to the planning commission for special approval consideration. So again, people have asked about the hours and maybe lighting or buffering, anything like that. Those are issues that have nothing to do with rezoning. Those have things to do with the site plan and after special approval. So if you accept the recommendation of Planning Commission, that's it as far as the owner is concerned. If you decide that you believe it's appropriate in C2, all of those questions are going to be answered by the Planning Commission. Hours of operation, buffering, lighting, parking, etc., and so on. I'm happy to answer the
It's
questions.
something that we don't, the board here does not make those
No.
restrictions.
No, that's Planning Commission.
The board doesn't make those changes or restrictions or requests.
Right.
I'd like to know all the available options under C2 zoning.
Yeah, so, let me start with C1, which is where it's at right now.
Okay.
Under C1, generally recognized retail businesses which supply commodities on the premises such as groceries, meats, drugs, dry goods, clothing, etc. Personal services establishments, beauty shops, photography studios, dry cleaners, so on. Dry cleaning establishments, restaurants, and other uses similar to the above uses. C2 allows all of the C1 uses, so all those that I read. In addition, bowling alley, billiard hall, etc. Plant material nursery, an automotive service facility, veterinary hospitals, veterinary clinics, boarding houses.
Can I ask a question? If they stayed zone 1, can they get special to put in a gas station under what the community wants? Instead of moving them all the way to a 2, where it's concerned that could change it into something we don't want? Is that something that can be looked at and considered?
That's called conditional rezoning, which is not the request. The request is what I call straight rezoning, from C1 to C2. So the only restrictions that they would be operating under, if you grant that, are those imposed by planning commission as part of the special approval.
I have a question. So regarding that, you're saying that it goes through the planning commission to make all kinds of restrictions. Now, if the original one is passed, what if he decides, oh, if we are gonna change it, it goes to the planning commission again? So the planning commission makes all the decisions the first time, or is there another one if there would be changes?
The only reason it's here is because it's getting rezoned.
Right.
That has nothing to do with it.
So, the way your zoning ordinance is structured is, these requests go to planning commission first, they make a recommendation to this board on rezoning. And again, only if you permit the rezoning does it go back to planning commission, and those conditions do not come back to this board.
So if it was C2, planning commission make recommendations on what can be allowed.
If it's C2, that's when they get into site plan, where you've got the blueprints and everything is mapped out, hours of operation, lighting, things of that sort. Green belt.
Yep.
So on.
Yeah, so not decided here in this board.
Those issues are not decided. All you're deciding is whether or not it's appropriately C1 or C2, that's all.
And the planning commission did make the decision to deny the C2 rezoning because I was there, because it didn't fit in the area. It's residential, and according to the site plan, master plan, C2 is meant for the M24 corridor.
Well, I would just like to say that in the beginning, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, I see what you're saying. When you put the gas station in, it was permitted in the C1.
Correct.
And it got changed at some point.
To my knowledge, there was never any special use to it.
Right.
So it was whatever, it was zoned, the gas station was allowed in there, and there was never any special conditions put on it.
Correct.
It was just, in that zoning, you could put a gas station. The only issue they had is with the state, there was a footage issue with the lot that had to be met. So the state has requirements that go on it, and again, you know, there was nothing that I knew of. I know it was all in when Gary had it, but then the pumps had to be updated, Gary decided not to, that opened a whole can of worms, and so now
With
we
a
are
lot of
starting,
gas stations.
right, starting it all over again, so. When my dad built it, to my knowledge, there was no restriction or special use requirement in a C1 zoning. In a C1 zoning, you could have a gas station.
And Lonnie, when Lonnie Hayes from the Code Authority, I'd asked that question about the pumps getting torn out, and you were there, Chris, and he said that it was non-conforming use, so that when the pumps were torn out, it was done. Do you remember when he said that?
I don't remember it all that way,
Well,
but.
that happened to a lot of the small, I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up in Hadley.
So that's
Hadley's
why-
gas station got taken away as well, because the people with the small gas stations couldn't afford to do the updates that the state was asking for. But, again, I think Mike wants to get out of here, and that's not what
Well,
we're
no,
talking
no,
about, really.
I'm just here to answer questions. So, I mean, the discussion, if you don't
Yeah.
mind, I'll just bolt and then
Yep.
you can
Yep.
carry on, okay?
So, and there actually was another gas station other than Faye's, and they all went away. I used to live north of there, I live west of there now. I personally don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's useful there. And I do believe, Lonnie expressed, he didn't express it to the whole board, which Chris was not privy to. And he had a different idea of what was happening that night. I'll just say that.
Well, that could be, because at the hearing, there was no representation for the store, no site plan, nothing. So they rescheduled it, and then they had a
That's because they-
representative come.
Well, that's because they went to the wrong 1900 North Saginaw, so it wasn't.
Yeah, 2 hours away.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it wasn't their fault. They put it in their GPS. They took them, to Saginaw, but I wasn't spiritual, they went somewhere else. It's just- So that's why they showed up. What I've seen of the site plan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 3 pump, not anything more than that. I know the picture shows a larger, but it says right on there that their proposed, gas station is for a 3 pump. I really don't think you could put much more than that in there, because they have to put it on the lot that's to the south, because I do believe the reason they can't put it back where the pumps were originally is because now the restrictions have changed, and it's, I think, too close to the road.
I got a question. How can they have a commercial lot and then buy a residential lot?
It's not a residential lot.
Are they merging them?
It's not a
The
residential
other,
lot.
the next door lot isn't
They were both
residential?
commercial.
They're both, okay.
Yep. Yep. And I do believe, I don't know if they've done it yet or not, but I do believe they're planning on, putting them together. I don't think we regulate the driveways, I think that's the road commission. Yeah, so we can't, say yay or nay on that. We do have gas stations in Mayfield Township that are C1, and we have gas stations in Mayfield Township that are C2. I don't know how that happened, but they're there. So, and like I said, the first meeting wasn't the gentleman's fault, he went to the wrong place. But he did bring the site plan, and I have perused it a little bit, and it is for 3 pumps.
Which the site plan would have to be approved by the planning commission.
That's correct.
It hasn't been done.
That's, no.
This board does not approve that.
No, no. And I think if Lonnie would have, Mr. Hayes, would have done,
Due diligence?
okay, you said that, not me, and maybe put it in a letter form or spoke to the whole board about, they needed the whole information of what could be done. And, I don't think you guys were given that information, that, the things you guys were having an issue with will be decided in the second phase. And, you know, you wouldn't just let the guy who is to the east not have a green belt, per se, you know. And I don't think they had to worry about that before, because the pumps were in front of the store. Now, they can't because of state regulations, they have to be, butted up to the, if it's approved, butted up to the, residential. So then, you know, it's only fitting, but we have a lot of businesses that butt up to, residential, and they have to have a green belt, and the lighting is an issue, and all that other good stuff. So,
Yeah, furniture's placed down here, they have
Correct.
green belts.
correct.
Keep that
But they have had, I know when I, lived out there used to be a house on Fish Lake Road, there used to be a gas station once in a blue moon a long time ago. And Phase is gone, and they don't have anything. You can go, you have to either go all the way into North Branch, or, North End 24. So, I know when I lived.
Open 24, and there was a gas station store there at the time.
No, I just know that when I lived north of the store, it was convenient to stop there and get down.
Plan?
They have a question over there.
I have a question, maybe I'm not understanding, if it were a C1 before and we had a gas station there, what is the need to change the zoning to a C2?
Because when they took the tanks out, they made it, they can't be grandfathered in anymore.
Which is fine.
Well, then, if you approved it one time for the C1, why can't we reapprove a gas station under the C1 again?
Because as Dave explained, when it got put in, there was no zoning, it just got approved to be put there. While
So now,
the
in
gas
order for a gas
station,
station, we have to have a C2.
that's correct,
Okay, thank you.
that's correct. And once the store and the gas station were up and running and all that, then more zoning came in and it got commercial.
It was
Because it already there.
1977, so
Yeah, it was
that's
already
when-
there, so they had
They
to,
had built
they had to
those.
do that.
From what the guy said if they decide to put a grow up there, a plant processing
We don't allow
facility.
that.
Not allowed.
We don't
allow that? Not
Okay.
allowed at all. Never
Period.
will it be allowed.
Okay,
No sales or grow in this township. period.
okay.
They want that in the city of Lapeer.
We made that very clear a long time ago.
Yeah.
I smell it every day on the road across from me. I know there's a grow operation there.
Well, we wouldn't allow,
There's just
commercial
variations
grow.
of it that we're talking about big buildings.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, we had somebody come in quite a few years ago, and they wanted to put one in McDurk, and we turned it down. So,
Okay.
I mean, if we were gonna turn something that big down, they promised us a lot of stuff, and we said no. So, if we were gonna turn that down, we certainly would not, approve it for Fish Lake Road.
Okay.
So just,
What about,
reminded you.
can they have a bar there? They have a liquor license, can they turn it into a bar?
Restaurant?
I don't know.
Restaurant?
I don't,
Restaurant,
You know, cause if you just
I'll
change
tell
it
you
to
right now, I
if
don't
it's a
think
zoning
that-
issue, you change it to a C2.
you can't just turn
You can
something
just
into
turn
a
it into whatever
restaurant,
they
and
want.
the reason I know that is because we have the poor guy up here on the corner,
Okay.
tried to have it eat in.
Well, they have a liquor license, they could serve, they could be a bar.
Serve pizza and
Dom-
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Dominic
Okay.
tried to have us sit in there, and
It could
you
be
have to
under
have
C1.
water, you have to have 2 septic fields, you have to have so much to have you can see what the place is up on the corner.
Okay.
And he couldn't even get it, being as small as he is, because then that's the health department.
Right.
So, and they told him no. So,
But going back, it's M24 is for C2s, why they wanna have in a residential area a C2? Like
Yeah, we don't need it.
we don't need it, it's, Bacon and Bridge is 3 minutes away, it's not that big of a deal.
It's not a big a deal.
Yeah, like you
If-
gotta
if you're-
plan,
If you can't, yeah, it's not hard to plan
it's
your
not,
day.
like we live across the street, it's gonna be a lot of pollution, noises, they
The people that
They
are
have the
there,
nerve to-
that are on Kings Mill, aren't
to
gonna have to
fix their
smell
road.
it, aren't gonna have to look at
okay,
it.
the gas was already there, and.
It's not there now.
But they have the nerve
But it was for a
to
long
fix
time.
the
I
road
lived there when it
at
was.
12 a.m. on a Sunday night.
it was only 2
And they were
pumps.
fixing their driveway at 12 a.m.
Yeah, 12 a.m., are they gonna allow them to be
Are they
out
gonna do
there at
that?
12
Planning
a.m.?
commission.
Yeah,
We're not
but
the planning commission.
it's,
Well, you're still the board, you can hear us
Yeah,
about what they do
exactly,
at midnight.
we're here to put our concerns out and
Out,
that's
because,
something
you know,
that
are
they
they gonna,
don't,
they're gonna do backyard deals and
Are they
put
gonna do
a
that
parking lot in there at
during
1
night?
a.m. in the
Excuse me.
morning?
Let's move on, you're becoming argumentative,
I'm sorry.
making things that are gonna happen, whatever.
Not thinking, it's
Just
things that
concerned.
have
Move on.
happened.
No, the planning commission
So-
is in this, in Mayfield Township as well, they're not doing any backdoor deals.
No, not these guys, cause I've seen it. At 1 a.m., you're not
Okay,
allowed to
enough.
have, there's a noise
Sorry.
ordinance, and you're not allowed to have people put a parking lot in.
No more, okay? We move on to some,
Well, oh, okay.
go ahead.
Well, really not. Are you gonna let them do the public time?
We had public time, we're done.
All right, so that, now it's for us.
Okay, opportunities, and
Just because you don't like what they say doesn't mean it's not the truth. You have to listen to both
Ma'am?
sides.
excuse me. We're gonna
I'm
move on.
just trying to
I
be.
do believe we are listening to both sides.
Okay.
I guess my point is we used to have 3, now we have none. I live there north, I live there west. It's my personal opinion, I think it's a positive for the area. And there's, what there is now in the, when it was there before, is the same amount of people who was there now. So, that's my 2 cents.
Well, there's probably more people going to the store because there's more people that live in the area than people.
Maybe more, but not in the subdivision.
Opportunities.
I think the subdivision's probably all.
They were pretty full,
Yeah, that's what I thought,
yeah, they
yeah.
were pretty full.
Subdivision,
Mr.
and then
Chair.
you got to the north, eastern Michigan, which is not gonna be developed, and then, you got the Kile property, which we'll see after that.
Okay, so just like, go ahead and brief.
I just wonder, I feel like you moved to this agenda item, so I'm wondering, do you have a motion? Were you going to either approve or disapprove this tonight? And maybe according to Robert's rules, you want to make a motion regarding that? Because you've had a lot of discussion already, but you could have your motion and you could approve or disapprove it, and then move forward with the rest of the agenda, which would include the balance of the public time that you suspended for the other. And I never heard a motion, so I'm wondering how you do that.
Just have conversation, everybody's
Well,
having
we
conversation.
let the attorney, well, normally we have the motion and then have the discussion, but the attorney spoke, so he could go to his.
Verify some.
Because it just feels like you aren't sure where you're headed, and I just was wondering if you were gonna do a motion.
Yeah.
This might be the time. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, Ellie, you ready to say something?
No, I think she just covered it because the public time got kind of taken over by the gas station, so there must be some other public time comments not pertaining to the gas station.
I said we would continue with the public time.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry,
And whatever was
misunderstood.
was spoken, okay? I said we will continue with it
At that time.
at that time, so we did, we continued, and whatever was being brought up, okay? And then nobody else raised your hand when I said in my public time, so the public time is tended.
You weren't very clear on whether or not.
Wait a minute.
I don't think it's all
No. Public time ended for that topic, I believe, was what was indicated to us, that you were moving ahead. And I think that is what you just said, so.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the rezoning for 2746 Fish Lake Road from C1 to C2.
A second.
Now, if you wanna have any other discussion.
And you have discussion, anything you want to say to this?
No,
I just wanna reiterate that they do go back to the planning
Goes back to
commission,
the planning commission.
and those other things will be
They will be
addressed.
brought up. They will be addressed.
And everybody here is more than welcome to go
Yep.
to that, attend that meeting and address their concerns. And I know that, part of the conversation, with Lonnie was those things that have all been talked about here tonight. You know, the green belt, the lights, and the direction of the lights.
Direction, yep, direction, lights and traffic.
From what I seen on the, plan, it was 3 pumps and 3 pumps only. I don't know if they're this way or this way. I don't know that really says which way the pumps are gonna go.
Appears like they go east.
Faces the house on David Lane,
To me, I think they should go east and west, that would be my,
or in line with rather.
and again, that's correct, and the driveway is not up to us.
Solve those issues tonight, it's, go back to the planning commission, and that's what.
Maybe they can bulldoze it down and put a bowling alley in.
Whatever they want.
Okay. Cheryl?
No.
Chris?
Second try.
Frisch? Is absent?
They could get.
And Engelman?
Yes.
And
The issues.
So what was the vote? Speak a little louder so we can hear.
And then 4 and 3 zoning.
3 for, 1 against. Okay. Okay, let's
go.
Shane, don't worry with that, go ahead.
The mess that this meeting has been could have been easily prevented had you just had the February meeting, which you canceled, claiming lack of agenda items, when there really should have been agenda items on February 10th, such as the Earned Sick Time Act. A lot of our other townships and municipalities have been passing theirs, and it looks like that's on the agenda now. That was February 21st. That was supposed to be in place. And I think...
You're going with your misinformation again.
Public time is for the public.
Yeah, you're not supposed to interrupt me. So, but I think maybe you heard we were going to invite friends to February 10th. Because you already knew at that point that you needed to meet and redo the Carol Brown term for the library. Because in December, you voted for a 5-year term. That is not legal under library law in the state of Michigan. You told Dr. Nina Sharma, she had a year left on her term. You told her she was done. And you told her that, you'd given her a 3-year term. That is not what you all agreed to in 2011. I have the paperwork on that. I found the most interesting quote from Frisch. It was in the paper on October 12th of last year. Mayfield Township runs extremely well, is what he said. I would like to know what runs well about a place that cannot appoint for the right amount of terms. And by the way, at the library board meeting, their lawyer said she had tried to contact your attorney multiple times, multiple emails, phone calls, had not gotten an answer. And that's why Carol Brown was not seated. And it took a lot of work, but I FOIA'd the documents you used, because in that December meeting, it was fascinating to watch you guys open the letters and pass them around. And it was like it was the most profound letter ever. And then I got Carol Brown's letter, and it is scant. It says nothing about education. It says nothing about professional experience, any of that. But for some reason, she was the candidate you chose, and I just cannot get that from a letter that scant. You've got major issues. You had a special meeting to pass the audit, which is late. You got a letter on March 4th saying you guys still have problems. By, I'm guessing the 18th, you've got to have those problems, a plan to fix those. This township is not run extremely well. Not at all. And you also had you open the doors more than 6 minutes before the meeting started. You could have had us in the big room because you would have been like, oh gosh, we've got a lot of people here. That would have been a good way to run it. Thank you.
I know I've spoken before, but that was on the other topic, and I had several. One of them is when we come and we get the agenda, which is now, because you're not open on Friday, it's back on Thursday. And if there's going to be changes, your agenda that you give us to start with should say tentative agenda. And then when it's changed, it should say agenda. Because I had no idea there was going to be anything on here tonight about the library or the sick time policy. And so I wasn't prepared to speak on sick time policy because it wasn't on the agenda that I got last week. Regarding the library position, I was on both school boards and library boards for over 25 years. And the one type of candidate, if you will, that we did not always want to consider was what we called a single-focused candidate. A parent who didn't wanted to get rid of a coach because the coach wouldn't play their kid. Several other things where they want something to happen. Don't know the big picture of the school district or the library or whatever. A number of people who have been appointed to the library board, as far as I'm concerned, are single-focused people with an axe to grind. And I would hope this board would look beyond just the fact that somebody is a Republican. This is a nonpartisan library board. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or Democrat. This is a nonpartisan board. And I would hope this group has looked at, if you've gotten other applications, looking at an application of someone who will serve the residents of Mayfield Township well.
Anybody else?
I have a couple things. My first thing is, I would like to make a request. Every month on the agenda, there are committee reports, in which you people go to committees, you're all assigned a committee, you go to committee and then you come back and report to us. Sometimes you have something, sometimes you don't. That's not a big deal. But that's part of keeping us informed, and I appreciate that. What I am asking is, we have 2 people on the county commission that represent people from this township. And I would like to request that they be put on the agenda so that they could come and keep us informed. That's what their job is. We listen to your reports from your committees, but now they're not even put on the agenda. And I know they were told they could come and they could speak at public time, but they don't feel welcome. And I think both of them should be put on the agenda. If they have nothing to say, that's fine, because that's happened sometimes. But there's a lot of issues that you see in this county that addresses a lot. You know, where do we stand? The big thing was about internet service. Where are we standing on that? Is there something going on with that? But I would like to make that request that they be put back on the agenda. My second thing, I have something that I want to read, and it kind of pertains to that whole library fiasco that we watched happen in December. Open Meetings Act required that all deliberations and decisions of a public body be made in public. The general rule is to conduct the public business and so the constituents know why decisions are made. Deliberations and documents may be kept confidential only when disclosure would be determined to be hazardous to the municipality, not when the matter will be uncomfortable or embarrassing. And I just feel there are so many questions I have about what happened that day. I left at December Day after you appointed somebody to a position that wasn't even open, and that person had another year to go and she hadn't resigned yet. What happened? Are you people not knowledgeable that we had a contract, that it was a 4-year term? And to look at a letter that wants to take a position and have nothing to do with any kind of characteristics to do with the library. And you wonder why we have questions. That's why, and it's part of your job to tell us why you make those decisions, but yet you don't. And I watched several of you go in when this lady was talking and you said, you go, well, that's not, no, that's there, no. Well, then you need to keep us informed unless it is something that's detrimental to this community.
Okay, we've got through the,
Sir,
public time.
sir.
You got more?
There's more, sorry. I'm Susan Huff, and I'm here because I'm concerned about our whole library district, not just the little Mayfield portion of it. From what I've seen already, both Mayfield and our library and our county are wasting taxpayer dollars because of the appointment that you made. As you've already heard, the timeline was off. You appointed someone to a term that did not exist. It wasn't open. Your agreement with the library district was for a 4-year term. Doesn't matter that you, I'm assuming accidentally and not intentionally, made it a 3-year term. It was for a 4-year term, so there was no open term. I don't believe there was any advertising that position was being opened up early. It certainly should have been, so anyone interested could have applied. The person you selected may have nothing but marvelous plans for the library. However, that person is known to have spoken in favor of restricting books in the library. And restricting books in the library is against the First Amendment. It is also against the 14th Amendment. And anyone on that library board should know that. This person took an oath. Again, the timeline was all wrong because the position wasn't open. But swearing to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and of Michigan, both of which say, and it's been proven over and over again in courts, that you can't restrict library books. the argument I keep hearing is pornography, pedophiles, and gay and queer and gender and obscene. But all of those things are determined by legislation, law, and courts. They're not determined by you, me, anybody in the community. I may think the materials look terrible. In fact, I probably wouldn't want half the books there in the library. But that's not my decision, it's not your decision. And to appoint someone to that board that you know takes those positions is almost malfeasance, I would want to suggest. And if you're doing it because you think you have a mandate, you don't. The supervisor and the clerk, 49% of the registered voters in Mayfield Township did not vote for you.
That's nice.
You still need to represent them. For our treasurer, 56% of the registered voters in Mayfield Township did not vote for him, but he still represents all of other residents. For our trustees, between 57 and 58% of the registered voters didn't choose to vote for you. You still represent them. That's part of America. The majority rules, but the minority is respected and is given their rights as well. I would ask that you do the honorable thing and ask your appointee to resign so you can start the process anew, allowing people to apply for that position, considering their qualifications, not just whether they are Republican or Democrat as was previously expressed, or they belong to the Sierra Club or whatever, and make sure that your selection represents not just the board, all of the voters in the district, and the library, but on top of all of that, that it respects our Constitution. Thank you.
Okay.